Okay, as I take a look at your pages here, content-wise, as we look here, now granted you're going to put graphics in coming up and you're going to work with the layout a little bit more, but I do like what I'm seeing here when it comes to the amount of content. There is some things like, for example, we typically don't center a numbered list like this, so I might, and then there's some spacing issues here I would probably work on this page. And we'll look at that here in just a second. Those are some basic stuff that we want to take a look at in this type of project. Now, when I look at your code, HTML code, great job of setting up the navigation bar as a list. That's what I wanted to see. I thought you did a great job also adding a definition list here on this one page. And then, throughout, I noticed that as we're working with this, I think, I forget which page it was on, good use of classes, that's what I was looking at, see if you're using classes. I did notice down here in your footer, you actually wrote out the copyright symbol. Some browsers won't know what that is, and there's actually character entities. We kind of briefly talked about it, I think it was in week 1, week 2. And in your code where your footer is, you put in actual code for the copyright. Okay, now what that means is down here at the bottom where you have the copyright symbol, what you want to do is you want to replace it with ampersand hashtag 169 semicolon. And when you do that, that'll put in the copyright symbol, and then every browser will make sure it will actually put that symbol in. And that's something you just add to each page. Okay, copy and paste it over into every page, and then you'll be good to go. For that. Now, as I take a look at your, I definitely want to look at the walkthrough page, and I didn't. The other thing I should have brought up is I didn't see any issues with your coding when I went through all these. I didn't see any errors, so that's a good thing. I'm always looking for that, for that purpose. We definitely want to work on the header section a little bit more, bring that doorways deeper down. And again, I don't know about the font. I know you're trying, I mentioned something else earlier in another project, but I'm not sure about that font for this. But again, you can, always disagree with me on that aspect. But we definitely want to work on this area, and I'm not going to, layout wise, this is not what I'm grading on right now, but I'm going to show you a little bit how I would probably adjust that. Now I am going to look at the walkthrough because there's some stuff here with CSS that you can apply, and so I definitely like the spacing that we have between each of these, but I don't like to center align large amounts of paragraphs, what you did here. It's all right to do headings, but it seems like you are doing centering. And I'm going to tell you that when you center something like that, it makes it harder to read for the viewer. So I definitely won't, the only thing you should center would be the headings. Now, this here, perfect job on centering, but everything else should probably be either justified or left aligned. So when I take a look here, I see the div tag, and what you're doing is you're centering everything inside the div tag, and which makes sense in that regards. But let me go down here. I think what we have to do is just modify this a little bit. I don't like doing the whole group because if you want to center the DTs and then the DDs not be centered, then that's something, I think if we change this to here, we delete that, okay? And then what I want to do is I want to go down to DD, and I'm going to put in text align justify, okay? And then in DT, I'm going to say text align center, and then, like, for example, H2, just do that for that part. I save it. Now, again, what text align justify does is it's like newspaper columns where they both line up on the left and right edge. So if you can see over here, and if I resize the window, no matter what, it lines up perfectly. So I think it's better to do it that way. Okay. Now you could probably use, I guess you can, if you wanted to leave a text line center for the div and then override the DT or DD, you could do that. So in theory, you could leave text line center up here and then just tell your DD to justify, and that should override. Everything should be centered. You could do something like that for that purpose. But again, you definitely don't want to center align paragraphs like this. Or well, actually, you know what? Let me see what happened there. So about the game, let me go in and see what's going on that one. Oh, I think those are those paragraphs. Yeah, you don't have this set up the same way as those other pages, and so we would have to modify that accordingly on that page. And that's the reason why it's center line. Or actually, that's a summary page. Well, it's the same aspect on the about page. Let me open up summary. Yeah, so you have, those are the PGPH. And if you have that, simply, you can just go in, just add text align justified to that. And you would have to modify the about page as well because it's not set up similar. So I think if you do that, it's going to be definitely better for that purpose. And then when we get to the walkthrough, the other thing too, you want your list to stand out. So you definitely want to add because you might be using OLs in different locations, I don't know. Let me see here if you have anything being applied to the OL, which I'm not seeing. I see. I'm going to go ahead and give this a class name. Okay. And then I'm just going to add .list A margin 20 pixels, margin bottom. There we go, just add a little extra space there to help bring that in. And then I'd probably go in, to tell you the truth, I really want to move this numbered list over a little bit so it indents a little bit more than it is. So we'll just add another margin. We could have just did this as one style. Yeah, so I'm just indenting it more so it stands out for that purpose. Okay, so hopefully it's making sense to you for that purpose. I'm just trying to get you some ideas. Now, as we go through this, some of the stuff, when you have paragraphs of text, I didn't see any bold or italics, but you definitely want to bold, italics, important phrases. I know you're doing a storyline here, but sometimes that helps guide our attention to a certain area. And again, just remind yourself that centering large paragraphs of text is usually a no in design. If you're doing 2 lines, But when you have paragraphs you're trying to read through, you definitely don't want to center that for that purpose.